What's going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about gas in this goddamn car. So last month I spent $625 in gas alone on this car. So the reason why I'm making this video, I'm on my way to the gas station again. Now granted, I went out of town a lot last month, and that's why I spent so much money on gas. But if I didn't have any other car, I would have to take this car, which I did take it on all of my trips, and I didn't go far. But let's go ahead and get to the gas station. Let's get some gas and we'll talk in detail. All right, family, so here we are back at the gas station putting gas in this thing once again. So previously I made a video about the things that you need to take into consideration when you are going to daily drive a C5 Corvette Z06 or just a C5 Corvette in general. Now, one of the things that I mentioned was gas, and if I didn't mention it, I'm mentioning it now. So last month, you seen the title, I spent $625 in gas. Now, I did do a lot of traveling last month. The first weekend I went to Indiana, which is about 2.5 hours to 3 hours away from where I live at now. The following weekend I went to St. Louis, which again is about 2.5 hours away from where I live at. And then I went to Detroit for the Dream Cruise, which is 6 hours away. And I did some heavy driving on my way there and back from St. Louis because I had my buddy with me, and we just made it a fun trip. We had fun on the way down, fun on the way back. And then the last weekend I did the autocross. A lot of hard driving, and that's what it's all about. If you can keep your foot out of the throttle on this car, it's not too bad on gas. Actually, on the highway I get probably about 24-25 miles per gallon, but in the city, that's where I hurt myself, right? So if you do get one of these cars, that's something that you have to take into consideration. What type of driver are you? Are you a hard driver? Because if so, you are going to go through gas. Are you going to, do you drive a lot? Do you, is it highway driving? Is it street driving? Do you live far from work? Do you go see family that's far away often? And again, those are just things you have to take into consideration. Now, the reason why I'm looking at it from a daily driver perspective is because I traveled a lot. If I didn't have any other car, I would have had to drive this car. Now, I did take this car on those different trips, but again, I do have the option to take something that's better on gas. Now, fortunately, gas prices are dropping. It's hard to see what this price is. I think it's $3.80, $3.85, $3.89, somewhere around there. And right now, I just put in 56 bucks. A little hard to see, and that's actually not too bad because the car is pretty empty, which I know I should not let happen. So we're gonna jump in the car because there are some things that I do that I could save on gas, and let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So for example, I love to hear my car around 2,700 to 3,000 RPM because it does this like snap, crackle, pop type of ordeal, and it just sounds so good and it's so hypnotizing that I want to hear it, right? But in wanting to hear that, instead of shifting gears at like 2,000 RPM, I'm shifting gears at 3,000 RPM, and that's hurting my gas mileage. That hurts myself is that I like to downshift coming up to a light as opposed to just putting it in neutral. So much money in gas. Now I could train myself to shift at 2,000 RPM, but for what? So it's the cost of having the car, you know. There are a lot of people, and this is only for people with manual cars, because if you have an automatic, it's going to shift for you at the best point depending on what you're doing. So if you're driving casually, it's going to shift at 2,000 RPM or something close to that. That way you're not running through gas. And if you're driving hard, it'll shift at, you know, 6,500 RPM to make sure it hits that red line. Y'all hear it. All right, family, so as you can see, we had to make a part 2. Different haircut, different clothes, you know, whatever. Anyway, so you guys can see why I go through so much gas. Did you guys hear the crackle and pops? And I couldn't even get it to do it the way that it typically does. But when it hits that 3,000 RPM and I shift, it's just like the perfect pop, 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 or just the way it sounds. So it's my fault that I waste so much on gas because I love that noise. And I could shift quicker to save gas. But again, this is something to take into consideration if you're going to daily one of these cars. Gas is getting more and more expensive. It's dropping down to like $3.89, between $3.80 and $3.89 where I live at now. But you have to think about, you know, putting premium gas in there. Are you going to put regular, premium, mid-grade? What are you going to put in there? How often do you drive? How far do you go? Do you drive a lot? Those are some of the things you want to take into consideration before you daily one of these beasts. Now, it is fun. Don't get me wrong. You're going to have fun. You're going to have a lot of smiles on your face. But stopping at that gas station is going to happen quite often. All right. So this is just a video to bring awareness to the whole gas issue with the cars. Again, some people say if you keep your foot out of it, you're fine. I'm about to go to LS Fest. This car gets about 24 miles per gallon on the highway, like I said previously. So it's really not bad on gas, but it makes you want to drive it fast because it handles it well and it just sounds good and it's fun. All right. Keep that in mind if you're going to daily one. Let me know down below. Do you daily yours? Is gas an issue for you? If you were to buy one, would you daily it? Or would it be just a toy? All right. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video, and again, subscribe. Take it easy.